In 1973, a woman was making 57 cents for every $1 that a man was making. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the last time they did a research on this or a survey on this, it was in 2020. And what they found was that although it's no longer 57 cents, it's still less. It's 83 cents for every $1 that a man is making. My name is Bill Benoist. I'm a certified professional career coach here in Silicon Valley. And in today's video, I want to talk a little bit about these salary disparities. Why is it that a man is actually making more than a woman? Reading an interesting book by Adam Grant called Give and Take, and this thing has been published out there for a number of years. Just kind of came across it. It talks about and I'm not going to go into the details, but essentially the definition of a giver, a taker, and a matcher. You can kind of figure that out for yourself, right? I mean, you know who the givers are, you know who the takers are, you know who the matchers are. I mean, you know, the takers are a lot of those times, you know, they just seemingly narcissistic individuals that are always taking, you know, advantage of you. Givers are giving more than what they, you know, really receive. And then, of course, the matchers out there, the negotiators. So this was an interesting read here because he touched base on this whole thing with the salary disparity. And what, you know, I learned from reading this, and there was a lot of research by some universities that supported this, was that in pretty much most cases, the offering salary, the salary offer, that initial offer was pretty much the same between a man and a woman. So what happened? Well, what they've determined, what they found, was that men are more apt to negotiate their salary than a woman is when it comes to the initial salary offer. So not every man out there is comfortable negotiating their salary, just like not every woman out there is not comfortable in doing it. But what they're showing was that is one of the biggest reasons between the differences in the salaries is it's not necessarily the raises or what the actual offer was, but it was the negotiation that happened after the offer. And in the book, and I think this makes a lot of sense too, is, you know, women are perceived correctly, incorrectly, you know, that's a whole different story, but I think that society perceives women as, you know, ones that are more caring and more giving, and, you know, they don't want to make trouble out there. And so there's probably a little bit of a fear about negotiating that salary. They don't want to come across as, you know, as somebody that's going to be causing problems out there. And you know, so one statistic that's always stuck with me, I remember reading about, something I've often share with my clients, is that 80% of hiring managers expect the candidate to negotiate a starting salary, 80%, but yet only about 20% of candidates do. Now, what I didn't know at that time, but what I'm kind of seeing now, is that of those 20% that actually do try to negotiate salary, my guess is most of them are men. So again, why is that? And it's not necessarily women. So I want to kind of broaden this out a little bit, because I could actually have been one of these individuals too, where I know what it was that I needed to say, or, you know, how to negotiate this salary. I just didn't have the mindset to negotiate the salary. I was always really kind of worried about, asking for something and having that wrong perception, you know, come back on me by the hiring manager or whoever it was that I was trying to negotiate with. Well, going back to the book Give and Take, Adam Grant, what they found out, and again, they did some studies on this, and this is the key, and something that what I want you to really kind of take away from this, and that is, if you are someone who has a difficulty negotiating the salary because maybe, you know, a mindset that's blocking you, Don't think about it in the sense of negotiating for yourself. What I want you to do is I want you to think about the reason you're negotiating is for another person. It could be your family, it could be your spouse, it could be kids that you're needing to put through college. Don't think about it as yourself, but negotiate because you're negotiating for someone else. And how they, determined this was they actually did some research where they were showing where somebody was negotiating a salary for themselves, and then when they were mentoring someone, and they were actually showing how to negotiate to this other person. And when they were mentoring someone, they were getting a lot more money. So I think it was like 42,000 if they, were negotiating for themselves. But then all of a sudden, if they, turned the tables and they were negotiating for someone else, somebody that they were mentoring, they were actually getting a higher amount. I think it was 49,000. And so they had this repeated in a number of studies, and it really makes sense. So the next time that you are looking towards negotiating a salary, and you know that you need to negotiate based upon your skills, your education, the experience you have. And I actually have a video, and I'll put it in the upper right hand corner, that goes over negotiating a salary, the how-to aspect of it. But if you know the how-to aspect, but you just don't have that mindset, you just don't feel comfortable, then what I want you to do is I want you to place yourself in this situation that you're actually negotiating this for someone else, for the betterment of someone else. So I hope you found this video informative and useful, and if you haven't already done so, make sure that you subscribe to this channel. Hit that bell notification, as I do upload new career tips and strategies every Tuesday, and I'd hate for you to miss anything. Thanks for stopping by, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.